Welcome to Choo. My name is Jacob, and in this video we are going to be talking all about Scrumpy. Specifically, what is Scrumpy, a little bit of history, and of course I'm going to show you exactly how to make this delicious apple-based extremely alcoholic beverage. Also, I do something a little bit different to my Scrumpy, so it's not strictly traditional, but I will explain how to make it in a traditional fashion. But there's a little secret that I do, which sort of fucks up with the clarity, but it also adds this caramel flavor to it. So it's a little bit different than your run-of-the-mill Scrumpy, but it is a hell of a lot of fun, and it's a hell of a lot of booze. So in this video, we're talking Scrumpy. Yeah! Alright, so first of all, what even is Scrumpy? I mean, it sounds like a dirty word, doesn't it? Like, I gave my wife a bloody good scrumping last night, if you know what I mean. Or, man, that guy scrumped me so hard. Oh man, I ate too much curry last night. This morning I did a massive scrump. It's simply a type of hard apple cider. So, in Australia, if you say cider, it's just assumed that you're talking about carbonated alcoholic cider. In America, I know obviously they say hard cider, and what they call cider, we just call apple juice. And what we call cider, the Americans would call hard cider. But Scrumpy is basically apple wine. So it's not quite a cider. I mean, technically it's a cider, but it's usually quite flat. So it's not often carbonated. There might be some residual carbonation due to the fermentation process, but typically it's just like a much stronger, usually 8% or higher, preferably, preferably if you're me. And yeah, it's just a non-carbonated hard apple cider, so apple wine essentially. So Scrumpy originated in the turn of the century, one of the centuries, I can't remember, the 18th century, I'll put it here, in the west country of England. So essentially northern west England, where cider was very, very common. In the south it was more like ales back in the day, and eventually beer, and so on and so forth. In the north and the west, apple country, apple cider. So Scrumpy basically means harsh or rough. Usually you would use apples that weren't fit for market. So especially in modern day, if your fruit isn't fucking perfect, the supermarkets reject it, right? So you end up with all this sort of stuff, this wastage essentially. Most people will sell it really cheap and feed it to horses or whatnot, but that's what you could turn into hard cider or Scrumpy. So basically, shit apples you can turn into good booze. Often it's cloudy, like I said, often it's flat, but it's often very, very strong, which is, you know, if you know me, just how I like it. Scrumpy, the term could also derive from the word to scrump, which doesn't mean take a shit after curry night, it means to steal apples. You know, when people say they're going scrumping, it usually means they're stealing apples from a bunch of rich dudes so they can feed their family, but it's also very illegal. Apparently a lot of convicts got sent to Australia because they were scrumping. That's all it took to send a bunch of people over here. Now, I'm not sure, I can't verify that. I wasn't around back there during colonization, but you can see how that could be a thing, right? So scrumping means to steal. Scrumpy means to make hard liquor from shit apples. Now, the reason Scrumpy is so strong is because you would ferment this all the way through to dryness. So just a quick recap on fermentation. Yeast eats sugar, converts that to alcohol, right? Apples can be somewhere around 10% sugar, so if you have pure apple juice, you can get quite a strong booze out of that if all the fermentable sugars were converted into alcohol. Now, often when you're making wines or fruit wines, you might halt the fermentation process or use use a specific type of yeast that doesn't go above a certain alcohol, so you can retain some of that sugar so that your booze isn't really dry and harsh on the throat, so it's a little bit sweet, right? With Scrumpy, traditionally anyway, you will just let that yeast ride, baby, until there's nothing left of the sugar, which often ends up in a kind of a tart, dry, and rough Scrumpy sort of liquor. So that's why Scrumpy is typically a lot stronger than beer, because there's nothing left. All the sugar has been converted into that sweet, sweet booze. So here in the Adelaide Hills in South Australia where I live, not only are we surrounded by beautiful, beautiful wine country, we are also apple country. This is prime agricultural land, and there are a ton of apple growers, apple farmers who just have orchards upon orchards of apples. So, fortunately for me, it's really good for the environment because it's low carbon miles, but also, like I said, all those shitty apples that aren't going to go to supermarkets or farmers markets or whatever end up on the side of the road, and they're absolutely dirt cheap. So the first thing I do before I go and make any booze is try to source the cheapest sugar I can. Now these days, sugar is very cheap. You go to the supermarket, you can get kilos and kilos of that stuff for next to nothing. But back in the olden days, sugar was quite expensive, so you would have to derive your sugar source. Remember, sugar is what makes alcohol. Without sugar, without yeast, there is no booze in any form. So you had to get those sugars from fruit, essentially, was the cheapest way. Put an apple tree in your backyard, you've got an infinite supply of, more or less, booze. Because you have an infinite supply of apples, you have an infinite supply of sugar. Right, so now I'm going to show you how to make it. So the first thing I did was I went out and got myself a bunch of cheap apples. This was in Balhanna here in the Adelaide Hills in South Australia. I just drive past, give the lady a couple of bucks. They have like little cakes and shit there. Grab me apples and off we go. Yo, it's Jacob from the future here, just quickly cutting in to let you know that I filmed me making 10 litres of scrumpy or thereabouts, from the coring of the apples to everything. But when I went to edit this video together, all that footage is fucking gone. I don't know where it went. It just disappeared. I checked everywhere. It just went out for a packet of cigarettes and never came back, you know? So the footage you're about to see, I've still got the scrumpy. That didn't go away, but the footage disappeared. I fucking must have accidentally deleted it after having one too many scrumpies. So I'm just going to make a really, really small batch so you can actually see what I'm doing. But yeah, so yeah, I'm just going to make a really small batch for the sake of, just so you have something to look at while I'm prattling on. God damn it, I love a prattle. Aren't I a prattler? I'm a fucking prattler. All right, back to the past/future. This is fucking trip, man. Oh shit, actually while I got you, I'll just quickly talk about today's sponsor, me! Because as if anyone's gonna sponsor my fucking shithouse channel. So, I make and sell hot sauce. A lot of you guys already know that. I also make and sell delicious infused salts like this wild mushroom salt where all the mushrooms were foraged by me, so you know it's safe, because if you know me, you know I'm an avid forager. I recommend jumping on the website, choo.com, and grabbing a bottle today, or come and find me. There's a calendar on there as well. You can come meet me in person. It's a great way to help me out, help out the channel, helps me put food on my table, and you get something back. You get a delicious, competitively priced, handmade, they're all made by me, handmade products, based out of the Adelaide Hills here in South Australia. You're not just throwing money at me to make videos, you're actually getting something back that's competitively priced and super fucking delicious. And we've got a brand new sauce called Terra Sauce. I am so absolutely excited about this one. This is the one I've actually been eating because it's so yummy. I teamed up with my buddy Chris and his bandmates from the awesome fucking band Hidden Intent. They're an Adelaide thrash metal band. They tour the world with their awesome thrash metal. They're really, really cool guys. And they wanted their own signature sauce. So I'll probably be doing some promo stuff with them, so I won't prattle on about it for too long, but this is officially available now on their website and soon on my website, and I'll be selling it, well, hopefully this video is out in time this weekend at the Medieval Fair, but also at all the little festivals and fairs I'm gonna do. It's a smoky barbecue sriracha sauce inspired by their tasting notes. We did a whole bunch of samples, we collaborated, we got together, we got back and forth, and I made them a whole bunch of different sauces, and this is the one they ended up going with after extensive tasting notes. So it really is their sauce, but made by me. It's an alcoholic sriracha sauce. It absolutely fucks really, really hard. It's so cool. Check out the band, and by buying this bottle, you're supporting me, but you're also supporting local musicians because they get a significant cut. So do it. Terra Sauce. It's my latest creation and it absolutely fucking rocks. It's the most metal sauce in all the lands. So check that out. All right, back to the video. Next, you're going to want to core them. Coring, I've got this great little coring device. It's really useful. You don't need it, but it does really help. Now, typically what you would do after this stage is that you would smash them up, like you're using an apple grinder or anything like that. But if you're on a budget, which is kind of what my channel's all about, it's about finding shortcuts to still be able to produce delicious food and drink, I just cut them into quarters, and then here's the secret that I do is I boil them up. This essentially turns it into an apple stew. So you add a couple of liters of water, get it cranking. Now, traditionally you wouldn't do this. You would just run them through a cider grinder, whatever you want to call it, and then run it through a press and squeeze out all that juice. If you've got a juicer, that works fine. I like to boil them, however, because it does 2 or 3 things here. One, without having to buy a cider grinder thing, whatever it's called, I will get one eventually. It's just a great way to soften up all that fruit, release all those sugars, and release all that juice. 2, it kills any unwanted bacteria or any bugs. Remember, these apples come from the side of the road. There's seconds, who knows how much shit's on there, like literal bird shit. So you should wash them at first anyway, but then running them through this will kill any unwanted yeast. So that way when you select your yeast variety, you're gonna get exactly what you want, not some random shit. And was that it? 3. Do I have a third reason? I've already done 3 reasons? I don't know. I guess there's no way of knowing. I'm not fucking watching this back. Oh, yeah, no, I remember it now. The third reason is it semi-cooks the apples, and which semi-caramelizes those sugars, so you get like a darker, richer, stronger, sweeter, in my opinion, flavor. So when you're using seconds, apples that are considered seconds or even thirds in some cases, like horse apples, for a start, you don't have much juice in there, so you want to try and extract as much flavor as you can. Secondly, you kill the bacteria. And thirdly, you want to intensify that richness, because they can be a little bit tart. So you shut the fuck up. So they can be a little bit tart, so by running them through here, you're going to convert some of those sugars, brown some of those sugars, and it's going to become a lot more sickly and sweet, which I believe makes for a tastier scrumpy. Wow, it got real dark all of a sudden. Bloody hell, now I'm all orange again. So, once those apples have been boiled and cooled down enough that you can carry them, you're going to want to try to press them. Now, traditionally, you'd use a cider press. You can make your own. I've seen lots of DIY stuff. I haven't done this just yet. I will be doing this soon, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I am going to be building my own cider press. Shut up! Shut up, I say! So I am going to be building my own cider press soon. So stay tuned for that. You want to crush it out. Now here's a really good budget option. 2 buckets, a bunch of bricks, and a bit of manpower, baby. What you need, or people power. It's 2025, people power. So what you do, get 2 buckets. These are 25-liter buckets. Drill a bunch of holes in one bucket. That's your outside bucket. Then put that in a pot or even a bigger bucket. Then dump your apples into a bunch of sacks. This is some sort of cheesecloth or some shit like that. Oh no, grain bags. I think they're grain bags I got from Homebrew Store. Tie them off, put them in there, get your second bucket, put it on top, put some weights in there, and then basically you just got to lean on that for ages. This is not ideal. You will waste some apples, you will waste some juice. You're not going to smash it all out on your own. That's why we have cider presses. Ideally, you'd get a cider press. If you're on a bit of a budget, do this. You can always add a little bit of extra sugar, which is exactly what I did. So once it's all pressed and I've got enough juice, then I'm just going to add a little bit more sugar to it, because I want this to get a little bit higher. Now, this is not traditional. Traditionally, you would just use straight apple juice. You would absolutely not add any sugar. But like I mentioned earlier, these days, sugar's cheap. And the more sugar you have, the more fucking alcohol you get. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, this guy knows. This guy, I know. You know. Yeah, you're nodding. So, once that's all done, make sure you sanitize everything always. Add that to your fermenting vessel. Now, I had 2 vessels here, so then you're going to want to find a yeast source. Now, I'm using EC1118 because it's a champagne yeast. It's not ideal for cider. I'd prefer to have a cider yeast, but it's all I had in the fridge, and like I always talk about on this channel, use what you've got. If you're going to the homebrew store specifically to make this, then talk to your homebrew guy and find out what he thinks is the best one. A known brand like Mangrove Jack or whatever, they just have a yeast called cider yeast. I've used it a bunch of times. It absolutely fucking rocks, and you can still get that high alcohol. EC1118 is great. I always have a couple of sachets in the fridge, because you can make just about anything out of it. But it's not the most refined yeast, but it's good enough. It's pretty fucking tasty. Throw that in there. If you've got some pectinase, that's always good to throw in. I didn't have pectinase for this one, but pectinase will actually make a much nicer, clearer cider. Okay, it's going to break down those pectic enzymes, release some more sugar, and clear up your cider. But honestly, I don't mind the cloudiness of it. I think it's sweet, it's rich, it tastes great. I'm not offended by it, but if you wanted something that's going to be a lot clearer, pectinase helps. Not necessary though, especially if you've boiled your shit, because you're going to break down all those sugars anyway. Then, once fermentation is complete, this will probably take, with an EC1118 or something pretty powerful like that, it's going to take a couple of weeks, okay? Could be up to 2 weeks depending on your vessel size, temperature, etc. Just make sure you follow the packet of yeast instructions. It'll have temperature gauges on there. Then I'm going to cold crash and rack this motherfucker. So I've done an entire video on cold crashing. Check that out. I am going to back sweeten this with a little bit of honey because it is kind of tart. So I do need to stabilize. Go and watch my stabilizing video. In this case, I used a combination of metabisulfate and potassium sorbate. I know a lot of wankers out there are weird about chemicals. Water's a chemical, dickhead. You're making alcohol. Who gives a shit? It's fucking poison. Just put some fucking sorbate in there and it's going to make a much nicer wine and it's not going to fucking blow up or keep fermenting or whatever. Once that's done, I back sweetened it with a little bit of honey. There's a little bit of honey water. Boom, put that in there, back in the fridge, ready to go. And I like my scrumpy cold. A lot of times you wouldn't have it cold. I guess, coming from the West Country or up north in England, it's going to be cold just sitting around anyway. Here in South Australia, especially coming into spring and summer, it's not room temperatures pretty fucking high, so I keep it in the fridge so you have a nice cold apple wine to drink, and that's also going to stop fermentation as well, so at least slow it down. And that's how you make scrumpy. Ideally you would let that age for like 3 months minimum. This is about 1 month old, but you know me, I always get stuck into it a bit earlier. So there you go. That is scrumpy, my dear friends. Oh yeah, usually I do a song when I'm doing a homebrew video. All right, I'll just write a quick song about scrumpy and then we'll finish up. I've been Jacob. You've been watching Choo. This has been scrumpy. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's pretty obvious that I've been absolutely thoroughly enjoying it. I'll see you on the next one. I love you very much. Farewell for now. I'll start that again. That was almost good. Scrumpy, put it in my tummy. I wanna drink all of the motherfucking scrumpy, put it in my tummy. The next day it's gonna exit from my bummy. Oh my willy. What the fuck am I doing with my life? Jesus fucking Christ. It's remarkable I have any friends at all. I'm difficult to be around, I realise that. What am I doing in my life? Fuck.